which can in turn impact their various communities because they have the connection based on their backgrounds. So this made me create this channel so that I can add value to you for free once you subscribe to this channel and get notified of upcoming videos. I look forward to hearing from you.
Good afternoon. This is Efwa Ellens Ede. How are you all doing? Welcome to another exciting episode. Let me close my WhatsApp notification of the Development Sector Series, which is Devsectorseries. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon, this Wednesday afternoon. One thing that I'm very excited about is that we're going to be talking about highlights of the 2022 Organizational Development Summit, which was hosted by the USAID's Strengthening Civic Advocacy and Local Engagement, implemented by Palladium. I was humbled and honored to be part of the steering committee of that summit. So last week was very, very busy, preparing and getting logistics ready for the summit. But it was what made me even, join this committee, with the summit, because I'm really busy with production of the Untold Impact. We're in post-production. We're trying to finalize things up so that you can enjoy the content of the documentary on the critical role of civil society in the development sector. I'm also finalizing a documentary called the 2022 Civic Space Outlook. I'm very excited about the documentary. It was powered by Spaces for Change and Ford Foundation. It's a documentary that talks about what human rights defenders and frontline organizations need to look out for, as they are, speaking truth to power. So that is going to be coming out relatively soon. We're just working on the final touches on that. I'm really excited about that documentary. I am going to have the teaser ready for you soon, and then you guys will watch it, because those of you who are keyboard warriors on the internet, those of you who like to speak, you take your phone and you have a feeling about what's going on in society and you speak truth to power. This is a documentary to talk about what to look out for, especially in Nigeria and West Africa. So that documentary is coming out very soon. So I've been busy with post-production. But I decided to join the steering committee because this is the first of its kind in Nigeria. Because organizational development it's a sector that needs to be strengthened, because there's donor fatigue, donor funding is dwindling. So we need to build up our institutions in Nigeria so that we can become resilient, we can absorb the shocks, and be able to also, maximize the impact that we started in the first place. So the summit was a very powerful one. And, we're able to have various key people. I'm just going to talk about some highlights in the sector, especially from the panel discussion, the plenary session with the donors. We had Dr. Chichi from who is the regional director of Ford West Africa. We had Dr. Kole Shetima, who is the director of the MacArthur Foundation Nigeria. We also had a representative from the USAID office, just talking about resilience of NGOs. So these are some of the things that I'm going to cover. I wanted to cover a lot more today. So if for you to hear the audio, you may need to put on your headphones. if you have them, so that you can hear it better. I was going to edit it and enhance the sound, but I'm just been neck deep in post-production of a 4-episode documentary. So which I'm very excited about. So I will show you some of those snippets, so that we can have a candid discussion on our thoughts on organizational development. It was held in Abuja at the Sheraton, and we had so many people show up for the event. Okay, we had a plenary session even with private sector organizations like the Owando Foundation and the MTM Foundation, and talking about some of the challenges and some of the experiences working with civil society organizations in Nigeria. And then just talking about organizational development as a whole and what organizations need to do to become more resilient. And I felt like I was a chorister listening to the choir, because a lot of my information on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn talks a lot vividly about organizational development, how your corporate governance needs to be straightened out. You need to make sure you have a good vision, mission, and objectives, and you need to have sustainability as an organization. And one of the challenges that was also mentioned in the summit as well is that there needs to be incentives for the private sector to be able to provide funding for nonprofits and causes that they're interested in. There needs to be tax incentives with the government. And in order for the government to provide those kinds of tax incentives, they need to be able to verify that NGOs are legit. Though we have a shrinking civic space in Nigeria, which that can be a tool for harassment, on behalf of state actors to pressure groups that want to hold government accountable. So these are some of the concerns of the civil society organizations, or having government determine what they should do as organizations, which is against the 1999 Constitution. So these are some of the issues that nonprofits have. It's just that in order to be a self-sustaining nation where organizations are able to get funding, is that there needs to be more incentives for private sector and for individuals to be able to provide, to be able to donate. Places like the UK, the US, they have tax incentives that they provide to nonprofit organizations. I just watched a show, and Shaq told the host, he says, "I'll give $5,000 to your favorite charity." It's part of the culture, and this is one thing that I'm looking to promote, that giving, global giving, philanthropic giving should be a culture in Nigeria. It's just that these people need to also have incentives as well, so that we're not depending solely on foreign donors to provide funding. As you know, the political climate going on, there's inflation, there are so many things going on that affects philanthropic giving. So these were some of the issues that were discussed. But before I share these videos, can you please just let me know who's here? Tell me your name. Tell me where you're chatting from, and then I'll give you a shout out. Okay. I'm having issues with the streaming service and YouTube and LinkedIn. In terms of with LinkedIn, I cannot chat back while I'm on stream. So if you tell me your name, where you're watching from, I can give you a verbal shout out. Okay. Facebook, I can do both. YouTube, it's kind of a hit or miss. Sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. So I see Bumi Adedayo Foundation. So you are John Klutse from Bumi Adedayo Foundation. Nice to meet you, John. Nice to meet you, John, from YouTube, live on YouTube. Anybody else? Let me know where you're chatting from, and then I will give you a quick shout out. Okay. Let me know where you're chatting from. Now, meanwhile, as you're listening to the videos, my phone camera, I don't know, maybe I had too much coffee. I was just, I had a handle to be able to steady my camera. It's just that I don't know, maybe it was too much coffee. So the video is a bit shaky, but the content is gold. So just see if you can really take advantage of the content. Okay. So anybody else, let me know. Facebook, LinkedIn, let me know where you're hailing from so that I can give you a quick shout out. I see a couple of people watching from Facebook. So let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear where you are, where we're hailing from. So before I share the videos, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Untold Impact. Felicia Stephen Okoye from London, Women Virtue Initiative. Good morning. Well, it's afternoon here in Nigeria, but good morning to you, Felicia. Thank you so much for joining us. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? So I'm going to be talking, and then I will also, because I really, yes, I want to talk about the highlights of the summit, but I also want to interact because funny enough, when I got to the summit, people kept saying, I know you, you're from the development sector series. I know you from the development. So I was just so honored and humbled that people are watching and really interested in what to do to change the world and listening to sector experts. So I'm very excited that, so I'm just really honored and blown away. Okay. This is Chinyere Nze from Mountain Movers Vulnerable Support Initiative, watching from the United Kingdom. Good morning, Chinyere. It's afternoon over here. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I'm getting a lot of love from YouTube today. Thank you, guys. Anybody from Facebook? Anybody from LinkedIn? Okay, so so I'm going to be talking about Untold Impact, you guys. I'm going to need y'all to show me some love on Untold Impact because I want us to talk. I want the world to understand, especially in Nigeria, the critical role of civil society in national development, civil society in the development sector. Civil society is very, very critical. Okay, I interviewed close to 30 resource persons for this documentary, and I may not be able to cover everything in the documentary, but I'm highlighting civil society's critical role in the development sector. And I'm also going to be sharing snippets of some of the things, what civil society means to them, what their organizations do, some of the issue areas, the challenges in the civic space, how we need to really control the narrative about the critical role of civil society. If not for civil society, the democracy would not have happened. It was the critical role of civil society. I actually talked to someone who was in the trenches, during the Abacha regime. I mean, a lot of them were going to jail. A lot of them were meeting in secret. A lot of them were being chased down in their hotel rooms during events to talk about democracy. So there was a lot of pressure during that time. So we are blessed. We are blessed right now to even, be able to even speak truth to power to the degree that we can, but we still have challenges really, really clarifying the critical role of civil society. Look at what Yaga Africa is doing with regards to, what they did, them, Civil Society Situation Room, and various other civil society organizations concerning the Electoral Act. Okay, look at the kind of INEC we have now. The INEC we had now is not the same INEC of 2007. It's not the same INEC. Okay, now this INEC is very, very civil society friendly, and we want to spread that out to other agencies, across the federation, that the role of civil society is critical in the development sector, that they should see us as partners. So as I am sharing this documentary on all my social media feeds, I need your support in terms of making sure that we share this to as many people as possible. Charles Chibuisi Ehiemeri, thank you so much for being here from LinkedIn. Thank you so much. And you are from Nigeria. So thank you so much for being here. So the organizational development summit was really, really, it was quite an eye-opener for me, even as an organizational development expert and as a development consultant. I got a lot of insight with regards to what the concern donors have with sustainability of nonprofits in Nigeria and what some of these organizations have been able to do. So this first one is going to be conversations by Dr. Kole Shetima, talking about the support that they provide and some of the challenges of media organizations in Nigeria and how they support media groups in order for sustainability. If you have any comments, if you have any issues you want us to share, put it in the comment section. This is kind of more of a discussion forum where we're able to discuss, some of the highlights of the summit. So I'm gonna play that right now, and then let's hear your comment. And for you to get better value for what's going on, make sure you put on your headphones, okay? If you have them, put on your headphones so that you can really hear the richness of the content. I was going to do that in my editing studio, but I was preoccupied with trying to work on the documentary. So I was preoccupied, and I did not want to reschedule this episode. The last episode was not filmed because I was in the summit. So now I just want to share with you some of the highlights, okay? Stay tuned and enjoy.
That are inherent in the donor. And they were exposing all the corruption and everything going on in government. Every advertiser stopped patronizing Next 234. And Next 234 collapsed momentarily. So we have been thinking about, if we really want to have a democracy, and we want to have a thriving civil society, then we must have an independent media in the country. Not that is one that is always going and begging and giving awards to all kinds of people. And that's why we have been experimenting with the idea of how do we enable our media houses to establish multiple modes of income. If you look at big newspapers, New York Times, The Guardian, they have all kinds of models they have developed, whether it is membership, whether it's subscription, whether they're wallpaper that they've developed, or going to the philanthropic organizations to do other things. I think that is one of the things that we have to be thinking about, and how do we support people to have multiple sources of income, so that they don't depend also on donors, so that if we are angry with them today, we will not stop funding them. Or even if we stop funding them, they can go to another person, or they can look at other sources that will enable them to continue to do the work they do. Although many of the people that we actually support, they always criticize us, and when we complain, they say, but you said that we are supposed to be independent now. So that's why we have to say what we do and other things as well. And I think that part of the civil society work that we support in order for them to be independent is, for example, the work we did with Action Health Incorporated. So if you go to Yaba, Action Health has this resource center, they call it. It's a 16-room apartment accommodation that they have, which enabled them to rent out. It's a very nice hotel actually. You can stay there in that place and they can get their income, they can have their hotel, they can run it and they do other things. I think that we have also established offices for many of our grantees. Clean Foundation, their office was, we gave them $500,000 to do that. Girls Power Initiative in Calabar, we gave them the money for that. Women's Rights and Advancement Protection RAPA, the building that we done, we had one who supported them. So part of it is really, can we just build offices for organizations? And I think that, one of the things that I have an idea which I never succeeded in selling to our people is, can we just build one building and call it a civil society building? Okay? So that we check the responsibilities and problems of all these rent and internet connectivity and all that. So it's like a space whereby civil society can actually come and walk and function and do other things. And I think that those are the kind of things that we should be thinking about in terms of sustainability of this organization. So that, or even, for example, in Lagos, people go to Lagos, maybe, we should create a space in Lagos whereby if I go to Lagos and I'm going to work and I don't have a space, I can actually go to some space, whatever it is called, so that, I can have an office there, I can do my writing, I can do my internet, I can do my work, and boom. Or here in Abuja, I come to Abuja for meetings, I may not have an office, and in Abuja and other things, actually there's a space dedicated for civil society organizations can just come and have a space, they have internet, they can have their phone calls, they can have their own meetings and other things. So I think that we should be thinking about, are there creative ways in which we...
Hi, so I hope you were able to recollect what Dr. Shetima was saying. He was specifically talking about various sustainability mechanisms, and then talked about some of the organizations they supported as MacArthur Foundation, with regards to making sure that you're leaving an organization stronger than you met it. You get what I'm saying? Not having the organization just struggling after your project is over, because one of the challenges, one of the reasons why the summit was even started was that most nonprofits go from project to project to project. It's like there's limited sustainability. And then he also was suggesting to his colleagues as donors that can they put together like a civil society resource center. So if an organization comes to a place in Lagos, they can just go into like a civil society resource center. They would have internet, they would have phone, they would have laptops, and just things for them to be able to work on some sort of shared space so that they are able to do so much with so little. Okay, so this was some of the things that Dr. Shetima was talking about. So there's another clip with Dr. Chichi really talking about the build grant that the Ford Foundation has for its grantees, where I think it's about close to 25 to 30% of their funds just go towards sustainability. So the organization does not have to account for it. So it does not lead to creative accounting. So my appeal to donors, if you're like pinching pennies with NGOs, there's something called creative accounting. They'll just do creative accounting on you, and the money that you're talking about trying to save, you're probably not going to save it. There's always a way around everything. So in order for that not to happen, a lot of donors even struggle to even pay NGO staff salaries. You get what I'm saying? They start asking you questions. No, we will only pay 30% of your salary, and then you're asking for 100% of their time. So these were some of the things that they were sharing with each other. I'm gonna and with us on the panel discussion. There's another one that I think I have. Let me just get it. I think I was able to get the file. Let me see. Okay, there's Dr. Chichi. Okay, so here's this one, and then just kind of hear what Dr. Chichi, Regional Director at Ford.
Different lens. And what that means is that you look at them from a holistic perspective. What is it that they are trying to achieve? What is the impact that they want to achieve? And what do they need to get there? Once you start looking at an organization,
again, sorry for the shaky camera. I think I had a lot of coffee, so just listen to the content. Thanks a lot.
You're interested in their structure, you're interested in their sustainability, you're interested in their networking, you're interested in everything that is required for them to become an organization that can actually deliver on impact. And so that's how we treat our partners, that's how we want the relationship with our partners to be. So that once we do that, once we see these as people who have the capacity to be partners, then we are focusing on the relationship that we can have and build with them. And so we don't go from project to project, we go from funding to funding. And what that means is that we recognize that organizations cannot be sustainable if they're going from project to project. If you're counting every dime you give to them, or you were supposed to buy 7 pencils and you bought 6 pencils, where's the money for the 7th pencil? And if you do that, the organization is never going to be sustainable. So we make sure that we give core funding and we also give project funding. but we're actually moving towards more and more flexibility where we give institutional funding to organizations so that they're able to deliver on their mandate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We will come to that in a little bit, institutional funding, because that's the direction that we should be looking at. But let me also get to Dr. Okoni. What experience have you gathered over the years in terms of supporting sustainability of local civil society organizations in Nigeria?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I was asking whether the organizers of this meeting have any policy on harassment. Because I have received like 10 calls for this meeting. I was saying that this has become beyond invitation to harassment. And maybe I need some legal redress for this one as well. But I also want to make one or two comments on some of the things that I've heard before. One is the point about success without a successor is a failure. So I think that any of us who really want to have success in life must be thinking of a successor who will continue with the work that we have started. The second point I want to make is the point about, I believe it was Ben who made about our drivers, our cleaners, and others in the office. Many people may be surprised to know that some of the people that we support in the foundation were actually recommended by our receptionists, or by our cleaners, or by our drivers. And I tell that, these people, they sometimes live in the real world than myself, and there are a number of people who will not talk to me. They will see things when they are driving, when they are listening to the radio and other things, and they will come and see me and tell me, oh, we really need to support this or that. And I'll ask them, why do you think so? They'll tell me that, look, this program that is going on and other things, I listen to this all the time. We think this is important, we should support another thing. So these are our, really for me, these are our local intelligence people who we should support. And I hear also sometimes people come to our office, they have an appointment, because they are big people, they'll just move on and come and say that I'm coming to see Dr. Shitima, or I'm going to see Dayo, or Amina Salih. They have no respect for the receptionist in the office, because she's a receptionist. So, for me, that tells me the kind of character of the person or the organization that is approaching us. If you don't have respect for people in your own office, that is the same thing that you try to treat other people because you think they are cleaners, you think they are receptionists, you think they don't matter in society. And therefore, for us, if we are thinking about our values, then we have to think about the kind of people that we want to support in society. Those are the 2 or 3 points that I wanted to make. Now my time starts. Is that okay? So I think that the first point I just want to make is that we always want to believe that we want to leave every organization who is our partner better than when we started the partnership. That is our first commitment. The second commitment is that please don't see us only as source of money, because that is where the problem comes in. If our relationship is transactional, it's just because we come and see and then we give you money and go, then I think we're also missing the point. And I think Chichi made the point about trust-based philanthropy. We have to trust each other, that we are in a relationship and this relationship is based on trust. So at the MacArthur Foundation, we strongly believe in trust-based philanthropy. We do not, and I try to chide some of my friends in other places, whereby, and I'm exaggerating, but I say that look, when your partners are reporting to you, they come with Ghana must go papers. So they spend all their time counting all kinds of things and other things. So instead of them to do what they are actually supposed to do, which is to implement your project, they are wasting all their time accumulating papers and receipts upon receipts and upon receipts. I said, look, somebody who wants to cheat you, he or she will always cheat you. So it's better just to start with that basic assumption that if you don't trust somebody and ask him for every CCC and COBO and everything that has to be accounted for, if you start from that basis, then I know I can produce all those receipts and other things and fulfill whatever you want. So you must, our own point of view is start with a trust-based platform. That to me is critical and very important. On our own side also, we always look for long-term relationship. So people come to me 3 months to the election and say, we want you to support the election. I said, no, we don't operate that way. We always support organizations over a longer period. No organization that we support for less than 5 years. Because you don't ask people to make an impact, and then you say that, oh, they will have an impact over after 3 months, come and tell me what you have achieved. Even we as foundations with all that of money, we can't make those kind of claims. How do you expect someone, just because you give them a grant for 6 months, then you come and tell them that, oh, you have to have the impact statement and everything that you've done and things? No. So for us, that long-term commitment is critical and very important. It has to be minimum of 3 years, maximum of 10 years. That is the way in which we work with all the organizations that we support. We don't do a 3 months grant, 1 year grant. No. We don't do so. Because by the time that I write my proposal, then they come to start the implementation, it's already 1 year. So how do you expect that person to actually have any impact? So all our grant has to be minimum of 18 months or 3 years. I think that we like to do 18 to 3 years grant so that we give people the opportunity to do all the work that they want to do and come and do the reporting that they want, rather than them just being in cycle, writing one proposal after one proposal and one proposal or another, and then we're just wasting their time and energy and other things. The third thing that we try to do is that because we are based in US-based organization and there are rules and regulations, many Nigerian organizations are what we call expenditure responsibility, which means you have too much problems about reporting. Okay? So what we try to do is that how can we move them from expenditure responsibility to become a public charity? Now, the good news about being a public charity is that we must give you a minimum of 29% as your own overhead cost. You get 29% as your overhead cost. Now, this is in addition to all your staff that you have to pay. That one does not include, it's not in the 29%. Everything, the program that you're going to do and everything, you have to pay. We have to show all those one. In addition, you get the 29% as part of the money that you have to pay for overhead. Because we see our peers and other people who, they don't even want to pay for the staff that are going to, they just pay for, okay, you are going to do this activity, you have to do this activity, who is going to do that activity? Who is going to do that activity? You have to pay for the staff, you have to pay for the benefits of the staff. Whether it is their health insurance, whether it is their pension contribution, whatever the benefit that they are going to get, we are also supposed to pay for those ones. Because so that when they leave the organization, they have something they can put back. When they are sick, they can go and pay for their own health. So for us, benefits are critical and very important because we also get benefits. So if we get benefits, why should we allow our partners to get benefits as well? So we allow to make sure that they get benefits as well. Okay, thank you.
Dr. You still have, you have opened a kind of, that we have to give you. Okay, just be careful. Maybe it's my voice. So,
I hope you all enjoyed that clip by Dr. Kule Shetima and even Dr. Chichi as well. So I'm just very excited about that. So, organizations like Ford, philanthropic organizations like Ford and MacArthur Foundation that are looking at trust-based philanthropy, you have to be in a situation where you are strong enough to be able to earn their trust, okay? Because organizations like that are putting their trust in you as an organization. So you need to become an impact-driven organization, an impact-driven institution in order for you to maximize social impact, okay? So you need to be an organization that has its governance systems in place, that has a strategic plan, that has programming, that has all those, that has the strong administration that is required to be able to move an institution forward, and so that you have the reputation that donors like Dr. Shetima or a driver at MacArthur can see the impact that you're making in a community and let Dr. Shetima know who will be able to contact you. You want to be able to become an impact-driven organization. There's even an organization that I know of that actually invested in their nonprofit. He said, I've invested over 10 million naira in my nonprofit. And guess what? Right now, he's a grantee of the MacArthur Foundation. And they were able to renew their grant and gave them more money because of the impact that they were able to make. So as a nonprofit, you don't want to just be caught up in founder syndrome. Oh, my NGO. If you are starting an NGO, it has to outlive you. It has to outgrow you. Another person that spoke during that event was Ndidi Nguneli, who is the founder of Leap Africa. She says, Leap Africa is a youth organization. She said, I'm 47 years old. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to be 47 years old. I'm no longer a youth. I don't know the challenges of the youth of today. So guess what? She has had series of successors of Leap Africa right now. And the executive director is a dynamic and transformational person, which is Femi Taiwo. So you have to have those kind of institutions so that donors like Dr. Kole and Dr. Chichi, and their team can approach you, okay? So this next and final clip, I have a couple of more clips, but I wasn't able to transfer them. I didn't realize how heavy those files were. I will have started working on them last night. But nonetheless, I have a final one. It's from the representative of USAID, kind of talking about their thinking towards being able to fund local organizations right away and the process that they are going through to make that happen. I hope this summit, because there's going to be one next year, there's going to be one the year after that, and eventually it's going to pass away from USAID to another institution, a local institution that'll be able to drive the summit, because we want a situation that more impact-driven institutions are churned out here in Nigeria so that we can be able to further support national development. So this is the final clip. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm getting feedback from YouTube, so your feedback will be really encouraging. It will encourage me to do more things like this when I attend key development events that I feel will be useful to the audience. I'm able to share some of the clips, and really invest more in in production equipment to be able to even cover more of this for you guys. So let me know. Your feedback is what will help me give you the value that you're looking for in my channel. Okay, so this is the final clip, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Because we don't have the bandwidth or relationship, that is something that will always be there, but being cognizant of it, taking it into account, being aware of it from the beginning, and trying to address that and level that playing field is something that's an onus on us as donors to do, but also grantees and local organizations as well, to recognize that, to call us out if we're not treating you as equals, and to step it up. If we're an international organization, we work across the world, take that step, challenge yourself to raise up to that international standard. I'm really lucky, and I think we are really lucky to be in Nigeria. There are amazing organizations here, really, top-notch organizations
And one of the things kind of tied to grant making as well from the donor perspective is ensuring that there's, the systems are in place, but that also that organizations who are the kind of the bright lights or the stars in a sector are not just being the competitors kind of edging out the little guys, but that they're bringing in the next generation and bringing them up. And so that's a challenge that I would make to the established organizations in the room here today. Also to the up-and-comers is, really try to get those systems in place, engage with the leaders in your sector to learn. I think we're trying to do that with the SCALE program, but the learning shouldn't stop there. And really work to challenge us as donors too, if you have a chance, to say, why do you always give your money to the same people? I mean, we fall into some of the same bad habits that others have talked about, and I think it comes down to donor coordination. That's something that we're working hard to do with other donors here in Nigeria and around the world is really to explore who are the main players in the sector, but also who are those up-and-comers that we can reach a hand out to support or challenge in that grant-making process, make it a part of the award from the beginning. And I think, being systematic about it from day one, this is what we call in USAID our program cycle. From start to finish, being cognizant of these goals that we've set for ourselves, and then holding ourselves accountable, and then challenging you as our partners to hold us accountable as well.
Thank you very much. That's quite very instructive. So we are looking forward to some of the areas that you have mentioned. But let me push this to Okole and Dr. Chichi. In terms of new thinking, the same question. I would like to hear it from different perspectives, but the same question basically. In terms of new thinking in donor sustainability, in organizational sustainability, what are the emerging thoughts coming from an organization like yours, Ford Foundation and Mercator Foundations, in terms of new thinking to strengthen organizational development in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you. So at the Ford Foundation, we recognize that it is important, like I said earlier, to support organizations in a trust partnership. And so we have a program called the Build program, Build Initiative, Building Institutions and Networks. And what it is that we identify organizations that we believe are at a point in which they are ready to scale, and support them with flexible funding over a 5-year period. And this flexible funding allows them to do pretty much anything that they believe that they need to do to be able to strengthen their organizations and go and take the organizations to the next level. And so these are people who are already grantees of the Ford Foundation, but who we feel over time are now ready. So that's one of the new things that we're doing, that we are moving away from even just the core funding to really now, flexible funding that allows the kind of things that the other groups talked about. I mean, I was listening to the panel before, and all the things that had been mentioned, the ability to innovate, the ability to do a succession plan, policy, all those things, it requires flexible funding. It requires flexibility within an organization. How will an organization do all those things if they have to go from project to project? And so that's why it's important for donors to really begin to think about what kind of relationship they have with their partners and what the future should be. I think for me, it's also one of the things that we're also looking at, which is new, is seeing how we can stimulate local philanthropy. I think that we're looking at this panel, it is problematic. The idea that we assume that international organizations should be the ones taking responsibility for the problems that we have. I think that we have been lucky to have international organizations do that, but we know that changes are happening in the world. We know that funding is dwindling. We know that the West, where most of the money comes from, is having their own problems. and conservative governments are being elected that are not so interested in international development in the way we want to see it. And so what that means, and in our own countries, the problems are not getting any better. And so if we really want to see the change that we want to see happening in the quickest time, we have to recognize that our local businesses, our local individuals have to be the ones, taking the lead for our development challenges. So one of the things that we're trying to do at the foundation is say, how do we get local philanthropy going? How do we get local businesses to really begin to pay attention to the issues that are around them that are making it difficult for local businesses to strive? If we look at the funding that comes from international donors, at the best of intention, at the best of times, it doesn't even make up to 10% of Nigeria's own budget. Maybe now it's up to 10% because of the devaluation of the naira, but it is nothing compared to the resources that we have. It is nothing compared to the resources that we can have. And so the question is, how do we get civil society organizations to stop looking at just the 1% or 2% that comes from donors, but begin to look at how to stimulate local philanthropy in their own areas, and also look at their own organizations to say, what can you do to generate income, in order to become more flexible? Because a lot of times the reality also is that many of the things that donors fund may not necessarily be the most immediate issues in the communities where you are. And so people are forced to organize and write proposals for things that they don't really so much care about. But because that's where the money is, they have to go there. And so how do we do that? How do we get FIRS to give incentives, to local givers, to local philanthropy? How do we organize our tax and other benefits to ensure that those who want to give, as individuals and organizations are able to do that? I mean, I look around this table, I am almost certain that most people here are spending at least 10% of their salaries supporting one thing or the other, or individuals in their community. But they get nothing back for doing it, absolutely nothing. And why should that be the case? I think that if we also look at diaspora funding, there's a lot coming from there. So we need to look at new ways in which we can raise the resources as well as the human capacity that we require. Finally, the last panelist spoke a lot. It's fantastic to see what the Leap Foundation has done and Clean and the rest of it. But the reality is that if these organizations were not based in Lagos and Abuja, they will not be able to get the kind of human resource that they have been able to get. I'm on the board of a few organizations. I found an organization we're struggling, in other parts of the country, and I deliberately make sure that the organization that I support is not in Lagos and Abuja, but it's been a Herculean task despite the best effort. So again, how do we make sure that we're partnering with local businesses and the rest of them, not just for funding, but also for the capacity that we believe that we need to be able to get our country going. Our country is facing a major challenge at this point in time. We really need to start thinking outside of the box.
Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed that. Those are just a few highlights of the Organizational Development Summit. Like I said, it's the first of its kind in Nigeria. We're going to be having it, moving forward. For now, it's going to be supported by USAID scale implemented by Palladium for now, and then it's going to transition to a local nonprofit. Now, I'm gonna conclude by saying this: the development agencies, okay, the multilateral agencies, they want to give money directly to local nonprofits. Okay, I know of USAID. I know DFID, FCDO is already doing that, but they want to give money directly to local nonprofits, which is why the USAID Scale project is happening right now, so that they can identify organizations that can be directly funded by USAID. But you have to be an institution that is resilient to be able to access that kind of funding. Okay, and so it's just important that as a development professional, as you're sitting on boards of nonprofits, or as a nonprofit professional, just continue to challenge yourself. As the gentleman from USAID said, continue to challenge yourself to build your institutions, to get your processes together so that you can be in a position of impact. So what I am going to ask from you today is put in the comment section what you thought about this episode, whether or not I can cover, key events in the development sector that would be helpful to you as an audience. Let me get your feedback on what you thought about this episode. We will still be interviewing development sector experts. Tentatively, I'm going to be interviewing Yemi Ademilekun, who is the executive director of Enough is Enough Nigeria. So I'm going to be interviewing her. She was a Global Citizen Award winner. She is multi-award winning organizer and mobilizer. She was very, very active in Occupy Nigeria, very active in Enough is Enough, so just so I'm going to be talking to her about mobilization and community organizing as we're working towards the election cycle. So so I am going to continue having these conversations with development sector experts. I just want to also get your feedback on episodes like this where I'm able to cover events. I probably would, I would hire a crew next time to get better footage. But I wanted to start this and get your feedback and see, okay, is this something that you find helpful, or should I just kind of keep on with the format? Because I'm here to serve you as my audience. So just let me know what your thoughts are and what you think about some of this content. I'm just going to give a last minute shout out to a few people I saw. I saw Ukutepa Aminu Husseini on LinkedIn. Good day. Thank you so much for coming. James Yusuf, thank you so much for coming. So if you want a last minute shout out, you have like 5 seconds to put your name down and where you're chatting from. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching the Development Sector series. And come on, let's change the world together. Take care and have a lovely week.